Hey, how's it going, old friend? Uh, Welcome back to another video about dissociation. You may have seen my last video in which I talked about my own personal experiences with dissociation. Put it right there for you to watch if you haven't seen it. But this video is going to be a bit more of an informational video about this specific psychological disorder called depersonalization slash derealization disorder. So today we're going to be taking a look at the DSM, which is short for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The DSM in the US is basically the primary resource published by the American Psychiatric Association for diagnosis of psychological disorders. And if your experience has been similar to mine, you may have realized that a lot of psychiatrists and therapists and mental health people don't actually know a whole lot about dissociative disorders. My intention for this video is not for you to be able to diagnose yourself per se, but I'm hoping you can use the information and maybe talk to a therapist or a psychiatrist who can, use this information, help you understand it, and maybe diagnose you with a dissociative disorder. Because I know for a lot of people it's really important to have that diagnosis. I know I would have felt a lot better like 8 months ago if I had been diagnosed with this. I would have felt a lot less weird about how I was feeling. Anyway, so cracking open the DSM, that's the book. So the DSM categorizes dissociative disorders into dissociative identity disorder, dissociative amnesia, other specified dissociative disorder, unspecified dissociative disorder, and the topic of this video, depersonalization slash derealization disorder. So we'll probably call it DDD, just to make things easier. So the DSM's criteria for DDD is as follows. And I'm going to paraphrase a little bit for time purposes, but you can check it out yourself. Okay, so first, the presence of persistent or recurrent experiences of depersonalization, derealization, or both. Second, during dissociation, reality testing remains intact. Number 3, the symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. So this is just making sure your dissociative symptoms reach this certain threshold where it's really putting a negative impact on your life. Number 4, the dissociation is not attributable to the psychological effects of a substance or another medical condition. And finally, the disturbance is not better explained by another mental disorder. Okay, so now we're going to get into symptoms. So first, depersonalization. You might feel a detachment or unfamiliarity from yourself. Your thoughts might not feel like your own. Physical sensations might feel unusual. You might feel like a robot, as if you lack control of your words or your movements. Emotional and physical numbness are also key symptoms, and a lot of people experience distortions of time. In extreme circumstances, it can feel like an out-of-body experience. So, hope they're okay. So derealization, on the other hand, is best described as a feeling of unreality or detachment from the world, other people, or your surroundings. You might feel foggy, like you're in a dream or a bubble or something, or if there's a veil between you and the rest of the world. People often experience visual distortions such as blurriness, change in field of view. Everything might seem really flat, or on the other hand, really 3D. Distance and depth perception might be skewed a little bit. Audio distortions are common as well, which I talked a little bit about in my last video. So my own words, my own speech sounds really strange to me. It sounds flat. It's like when you hear a recording of yourself and you're like,
ooh, do I really sound like that?
That's how it is for me, but all the time. Couldn't have said it better myself. So people with DDD often have trouble describing their symptoms and might even feel like they're going crazy. Oh, I know I did. The thing is, though, a lot of people actually experience some sort of depersonalization slash derealization symptoms at some point. The DSM actually says that about half of adults reported experiencing some sort of dissociation at some point in their lives, but the majority of them don't actually meet the full criteria for a dissociative disorder. So the average age of onset for symptoms is 16, and the percentage of people experiencing their first symptoms after 25 is only 5%. Some people experience the symptoms of DDD For some people, the symptoms of dissociation might come and go over an extended period of time, but other people, including myself, experience completely consistent symptoms over a period of, it can be even decades, is what the DSM said, which I'm a little bummed about. So dissociation can be triggered by stress or lack of sleep, anxiety, overstimulation. It doesn't say it in the DSM, but I'm thinking understimulation as well, because I know when I'm staying in my room for too long and not talking to anybody or something, it definitely gets worse. All right, and the last part of the DSM, I'm gonna read this part word for word because I think it's really descriptive. Symptoms of depersonalization derealization disorder are highly distressing and are associated with major morbidity. Don't really know what that means. The effectively flattened and robotic demeanor that these individuals often demonstrate may appear incongruent with the extreme emotional pain reported by those with the disorder, subjective difficulty in focusing and retaining information, and general sense of disconnectedness from life. So that's it. Thanks for making it all the way through this video. I hope it's helped you understand DDD a little bit better. Hopefully you can use the DSM as a resource for learning more about dissociative disorders and maybe getting a diagnosis from a professional. If you're the type of person who would feel better with the diagnosis, that's great. I hope this helps. So now that I'm uploading videos semi-regularly, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting up a variety of content over the next couple months. It's going to be fun. Alrighty. Have a good day. See ya. Bye-bye. See ya. Later.